Council and Redevelopment Agency of August 28, 2007. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation. Bow our heads. Lord, help us make the right decisions for the citizens of Newman, and also help us have a successful fall festival this weekend. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Caden?
Present.
Councilmember Kelly?
Present.
Councilmember Crinkle?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina?
Present.
Mayor Fantasia?
Present. Declarations of conflicts of interest. See none this evening. Item 6, ceremonial matters. We have nothing this evening. Item 7, not agenda items. If anybody from the public has anything they'd like to bring before us that is not on tonight's.
Check your microphone.
Can you hear me now? Not agenda items. If somebody has anything that they'd like to bring before us that is not on the posted agenda, now would be the time. Seeing no one. Agenda items, when item comes before us, you'd like to comment?
Mayor, I believe this gentleman right here would like to address.
Okay.
Up to the podium.
I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Max Nanes, and I want to bring things about the parks, the recreation parks areas. I used to live in San Jose, California, and I used to live in front of a park, and I have trouble in the park, so I end up getting to know the laws of the park, and which I don't know if they apply the same. They have the same application here, because I live on Redwood neighborhood, and the park over there is a mess due to the fact that people play soccer. And as you know, maybe soccer they play bad balls. They damage the park a lot, and they don't allow me, my kid, and my family to win the park. I don't think it's fair. And according to the Santa Clara County laws, that's legal. I don't know about this. The gentleman in front of me was supposed to get the laws here. I don't know. The laws on San Jose, that's wrong. That's illegal. Do you know what happened here?
Mayor, what he is speaking about, and he's come in a couple of times and he met with me. His big concern right now, he lives in the Stevens Ranch Estates in the Ranchwood area, and they have a park out there. It's a 5-acre park, and there is a soccer team that uses it. And right now we are beginning soccer season as well. He doesn't like the soccer team using the parks. And they use them almost probably about every other weekend in terms of having a game there. He thinks that they're deteriorating the park, and we have talked to among staff, and there is going to be a need for a break after this particular season to let the park heal, because soccer is pretty rough in certain areas on the turf itself. But what he's also come out with is he'll bring in Santa Clara County, San Jose ordinances and say you can't play soccer in the park. And I was trying to explain to him that the city of Newman does not have that ordinance in there, and that we actually have an agreement with Mr. Azevedo and his league right now that permits him to play soccer in those parks right now. So.
This is adult soccer?
I think it's youth soccer. I don't know. It's adult soccer.
It's adult.
So
Michael, do they have exclusive use of that park from certain hours, certain days?
On certain Sundays, I think it's about every other week that they have a home game here. They're a traveling team made up of adults from the area, and so. But one of the things we will be looking at is, there is some damage to the turf that's occurring out there based upon the amount of use of soccer there is. So we're going to have to explore that, and we may not end up extending their contract after this one expires this year, this season. So.
Well, Mike, just a comment. I go by there, I walk in the morning, and I'm telling you, that field, excellent, as far as I'm concerned, Ernie. People are doing an excellent job. That looks good to me. For this weather, you kidding? There really aren't any, that I can see, real bare spots. I haven't gone on it, but it looks like a good field, Mike. And,
and the Public Works Department is doing a good job of taking care of it. They do a good job watering it. But there are little patches when you get out on the field. There are little
Yeah,
patches,
I'm
maybe
sure.
where the goalie stands or
Yeah.
those types of things, where the turf itself is actually diminishing, and there are some dry spots that do occur, but it's not readily apparent from the street or from where you're walking.
So do I-
but
there's-
there will be a period of rest that's going to need to occur.
Is
out
it
there.
from cleats, Michael? Are they wearing big
Yeah, they wear
or
cleats.
something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the nature of the game and how it plays upon turf when you do it over a long period of time, because the goalie stands in a certain area and they kind of pace around in that area depending on where the ball is at, and so that kind of just wears down that turf and it doesn't allow it to regrow. So.
Michael, is it my understanding that your concern is what the damage is being done to the park, or you don't feel you can take your children and go to the park while that's going on?
Well, it's a matter of everything together, because as you said, one thing is that you cannot take your kids inside. And the other thing, the damage to the park, and see when you see the field, when you see the playing thing, they use a lot of bad words, which is normal. Hey, you, when your kids are there, you don't want to hear that.
And that would be my concern, Michael, more than anything else. The damage is one thing, but I think residents should still have the opportunity to go over and enjoy the park, the playground equipment, and not be subjected to whether it be language or non-use, or if they feel like they can't go over. If he feels like he can't take his children to the park and play on the equipment and so forth, that concerns me.
We will address that with the agreement holder and let him know that he's been very responsive to the times that we have talked to him about picking up trash and those types of things, and so we'll talk with him about that. There's a lot of people that also show up just to watch. That presents some issues because he has no control over those particular people. But again, we'll address that with the agreement holder.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll definitely,
Thank you.
Bring
definitely
that back in
look
front of
into
the
it.
council, please, after
Sure.
you do that.
What I can do is give you a copy of the existing agreement and let you know what the terms are and those types of things, and let you know how our conversation went.
That'd be great, yeah. Any other comments of non-agenda items? See no agenda items. When item comes before us, and you'd like to comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and try to keep your comments under 3 minutes. Public hearings, we have one this evening. Conduct a public hearing and close 14-day public comment period to consider adoption of the 06-07 Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As presented to you on August 14th, we opened the public hearing and released the draft CAPER for public review. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, the CAPER is a requirement of the CDBG program in order for us to receive those grant funds. Today is the conclusion of the required 14-day review period. We received no public comments, and we are requesting your approval of the draft CAPER, well, final CAPER now.
Any questions or comments from the council? I will open the public hearing. Would anybody from the audience like to comment? See no one, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back for some direction.
I move for approval.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And our second public hearing this evening is a change zone number 07-01 SCM Homes request to revise existing plan development for the villas located at Hills Ferry Road and Sherman Parkway.
Good evening again. I will start with a little background information. On May 10th of this year, SCM Hearthstone went to architectural review for an application requesting approval for new plan elevations for the Park Villas plan development project. They were approved by architectural review. Upon that approval, staff had made it known to SCM Hearthstone that the changes to the plan development would have to be presented to Planning Commission and Council. On August 16th, it was presented to Planning Commission, and I'm going over the staff report just briefly for your knowledge. The project description is a substitution of 16 from a total of 23 single-story, 973 square foot, two-bedroom, two-bath Plan A homes with a two-story, 1,904 square foot, four-bedroom, three-bath Plan A2 homes on lots measuring 2,392 square feet. The subject site and immediate western parcels are zoned PD and R1 respectively, which are both residential uses, and the remaining surrounding parcels are currently agricultural. Because no specific guidelines for a planned development are provided in the municipal code, we utilized the use permit findings from the municipal code to help the decision-making process and to help for your reference and analysis. I will briefly go over the findings that I made. Finding number 1. Are the changes substantially consistent with the general plan and the Newman Municipal Code? The proposed use is permitted within the zone district and is consistent with the general plan. Although, as mentioned in the municipal code, the intent of a planned development is to allow flexibility in the design of a project and a mix of densities and/or uses within the perimeter of design and consistency with the general plan. These proposed changes are not in line with the design of the original planned development and therefore are not consistent with the above-mentioned title. Number 2. Are the changes in the best interest of public convenience and necessity? The proposed new plan identifies and responds to the needs of families and the living space they require, thus being in the best interest for the major portion of the public. In response, the new plan will significantly increase occupancy levels, hence causing more traffic and parking needs for this planned development. Although the new plan has increased the garage from a 1-car to a 2-car, parking needs still have been increased. Instead of the target resident being seniors or empty nesters, with an average household of about 2 people, the applicant has proposed an entirely different population to reside at a development where a household can generally hold 4 to 6 people. A 4-bedroom house typically has that many folks. According to the proposal, only 1 additional parking space has been provided for an anticipated increase of additional vehicles per block quadrant. I believe we had some pictures. Or do we have that layout on here? It's also included as Exhibit D, but it shows the layout.
No, the layout's not hard.
It's not on there? Okay. Well, we have it attached as exhibits. There are block quadrants
It's
listed
Exhibit
there.
D, Stephanie, in
Yes.
the report.
There's D and exhibits E and F have the block quadrants and the parking listed.
Okay.
In addition to the population increase that will occur, the affordability of park villas will decrease. Because the Plan A home is the lowest price home available at park villas, the elimination of that plan will inherently decrease the amount of affordable housing at this development. Number 3, is a site adequate in size and shape to accommodate these changes? As if we refer to Exhibit D, the planned footprint from Plan A has a lot coverage of 49%. The Plan A2 footprint has a lot coverage of 50%, an increase of 1%. The 2,392 square foot site is adequate for the proposed new footprint. Although the footprints of the 2 plans are similar in size, the airspace affected and the elevations are entirely different. We are going from a 1-story home to a 2-story home. So the home will fill in a lot more airspace than the 1-story. And we can refer to Exhibit G for those elevations. The initial presentation of Park Villas presented a mix of home styles, so the development would not have a canyon-like and cookie-cutter appearance. Substituting the 1-story Plan A with a 2-story Plan A2 will hinder that goal and create a crowded development in both lot coverage and airspace. And can we refer to the photos for that? Okay. Will the changes have an adverse impact on the surrounding area? The proposed changes have included an increase in parking by 1 covered space per substitution. The proposed changes will have a negative impact on the surrounding area as traffic and populations are anticipated to increase. Are the proposed changes compatible with the surrounding neighborhood? The proposed changes are compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The Plan A2 architectural elevations have been approved and are consistent with the planned development and surrounding homes. Although architecturally compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, the changes will impair the layout of the planned development. 16 of the 26 quadrants will solely be 2-story homes, should this change go through. The layout is not visually pleasing and was not the goal of the original planned development. Therefore, they are not compatible with the existing neighborhood. Public comments. For Planning Commission, we mailed out notices for a 300-foot radius. No comments were received. And for planning and for council, we mailed them out on the 17th. No comments were received. In conclusion, the proposed changes to the Park Villas Plan Development Project are compatible with the approved use. However, the initial presentation of Park Villas to the Planning Commission and City Council indicated a desire to combine a variety of designs, plans, and elevations that would benefit from the pull-apart design concept. In addition to this concept, the variety of home plans were presented to help ensure a visually appealing housing development that would please its residents and those in surrounding areas. The substitution of home plans is inconsistent with the original development and hinders its initial goals of variety. The substitution of 16 Plan As for Plan A2s will significantly alter the character of the development and change the originally presented plan development in a negative fashion. Some questions?
Yeah.
Questions for Stephanie?
Mayor, with that, we do have some pictures we want to show real quick. And so what we're talking about, and this is kind of real life scenario here, is this is a half a quadrant here. What happens is they take this and they just flip it over. So here's a street here. You can kind of see the cars, and this is kind of from back a little bit, and I'll show a picture a little bit closer. But from appearance, take this structure right here and put it right here, and that's really what you're getting. So instead of having a single-story structure here that would be roughly about this high, then you add a second story on the complete top of it. So you have this type of massing and this type of height that is now being put into this particular spot right here. Go ahead, go to the next one. Again, same thing, same area. Go ahead, Mike. So again, so this is coming at the corner here. So originally this was intended, this corner lot right here is intended to be a single story. Again, you can see the single story height here that comes down. It's about 900 square feet. With their proposal, what you would see now is 900 square feet, but the massing would be much larger. So again, flip this over, this particular piece here, kind of flip it over, because this is 1,700 square foot, so you're talking 1,900. So this proposed unit is actually larger than any that they would have out there. So you would have a two-story unit here. Some of the concern that staff has and what we presented and talked about is if you have this type of look and you put a two-story here, and you put it on all four corners as you go through, you're going to get a canyon effect. The roads are a lot narrower, the setbacks are a lot smaller, and then and the houses are a lot closer to the street. So you got smaller streets, shorter setbacks, and bigger massing on there. And if one of the things that they talked about in their original presentation to the council was that they strategically placed these single stories here to kind of get away from that effect, and they kind of had this, single story up to two-story, back down to single story effect. And so that's one of the staff's major concerns there. The other part is this would essentially make this an all two-story. And again, that two-story would go right here. So then you kind of see how you kind of have this, all these two stories right here in this area. We're looking at the long-term viability of this particular project, and we're not saying that it's not going to be nice when they construct it. But again, from staff's perspective, we're trying to project 5, 10, 15 years into the future and make sure that these tests tell the test of time. And so those are some of staff's concerns that we have.
Michael, question for you. How's it going to look on Hills Ferry Road? When you're looking at this project, will there be any homes that actually,
it's my understanding that none of the houses along the perimeter change. It's mostly the interior.
Okay.
The changes that are occurring are in the interior of the project, not necessarily on the perimeter of the project.
Because, we don't have enough setback on Hills Ferry. I know we can't change it, but it's terrible, the setback. I just think it's not going to be a good-looking project when you drive down Hills Ferry.
Yeah, at this particular point in time, they're not proposing any changes to the perimeter.
I know that.
Yeah, but now that we're looking at it as it getting constructed, those look a lot closer in real life than they do on paper. So,
Michael, we're looking at how many, 16 lots?
well, I think they're saying 16, but I think they want to leave it open to say that they put 16 on their application, but my understanding is that they always want to leave it open, and they would offer both models. So I think there's maybe 5 that are constructed right now. So if they sold 18 2-stories, I think they would try to put all 18 if they could. But their proposal right now says 16 of 23, and I think maybe 5 or 6 are constructed right now. So that would only leave 1 or 2 that would still can be constructed.
I'm not sure I follow you. Some are already constructed?
Yeah, they've already built. If you go out there right now, they've already built some of the single stories. Maybe
Oh, the
4.
single story, not
Yeah.
the 2 stories.
Not the 2 stories, the single
Okay.
stories. Yes, we are not processing this larger unit until it gets approval from the council.
Further questions from the council at this time? If not, I think I'll go ahead and open the public hearing and allow the developer to let us know what's happening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Steve Mothersell, president of SCM Homes. I'd like to start by giving you a bit of history on this project and this idea. Some of you are newer to the council. We're not here when this project was approved. It was almost 2 years ago, I believe. Michael, maybe you can help me with that. I don't know what you all do for a living, but how much you read the papers, how much you watch the news, but things have changed a lot in the home building business. We're trying to deal with those economic changes, but setting aside the economic changes that have happened since this project was approved, we're always trying to accommodate the public. When we start a project like this, we start with some of the best people in the industry doing what we call market positioning studies. And we send them out, they do a study, they come back and they say, look, this is what we see the need, okay? Well, and then we apply our own line of thinking to those studies, and then we end up coming up with final decisions about what the product line is going to consist of, what demographics each member of the product, each plan will likely cater to. Those are nothing more than intelligent guesses, and I guess, as they say about people who are professional consultants, if they were developers, they'd be developers. They're consultants. So it never ceases to amaze me how things can change in the short life of a project. The mission statement, the problems that we were finding with the single-story plan, it's 970 square feet. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. We felt like there would be a lot of acceptance to that plan because of its sheer affordability, because of the likelihood of a widower whose young family might be living in one of the larger units. This would be a great place for them, okay? It's a single story. I'm 54, I don't want to do stairs anymore. So I look at it and say, gee, I could be real comfortable right here. But what we have learned since we opened this project, and I don't know how many hundreds of people we've gone through, we've learned that out here, and I guarantee you this would differ if this project were in Modesto, if it were in Turlock. We've got the same exact product in Riverbank that we're trying to get started there, and it will be different there. And what we're learning about the demographics of Newman, we don't have too many widowers who. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have too many surviving spouses that have stepped up and said, this is perfect for me. We haven't got a large singles market out here like you do in larger metropolitan areas that this small plan would be ideal for. And of course, for our young families out here in our rural communities of Stanislaus County, they have children and they need bedrooms. So our mission then became, how do we augment our plan mix to better accommodate this demographic that we're not totally reaching. How do we keep a bedroom on the ground floor for, we do have people living in other parts of our community out there who are living with a parent and taking care of a parent. How do we accommodate that in this affordable product line? And by keeping a bedroom on the floor, we've accomplished that in this plan. It is not driven, the development of this plan was driven for no other reason than to try to accommodate a demographic that needed more bedrooms but couldn't afford a home in the $300,000 range. That's the root of all of this, okay? It is going to occupy some airspace that the single story doesn't have. I don't know if any of you have had a chance, I certainly wouldn't expect of the new members of the council, have had a chance to go visit some of the sites where this pull-apart concept is being built in Elk Grove and Roseville and Rockland, and places that we suggested to council when they were reviewing this original application to visit, to get hands-on with this stuff. I don't know whether staff has taken the time or the opportunity. Stephanie and Michael have had the opportunity to go look at these. Quite honestly, those are all two-story projects. They all have a one-story plan that's not being built. Okay? Now, these are all relatively brand new projects coming out of the ground at the time that we were reviewing this. Nobody knew. We still don't know. We don't know, as Michael said, we don't know that there's 16. That wasn't our intent. Staff wanted an idea. How many are you talking about changing? Hey, we licked the end of the dart and we threw it at the board. It landed on 16. Okay? This is not a substitution of the Plan 1. It's an augmentation of the plan mix. That's the intent of this. That helps the project. If it's more readily acceptable in the marketplace, it helps the project. Okay? Our mission was to bring in a 1,900 square foot, 4-bedroom plan below $300,000. Where is that found out here? Even in Newman, in the affordable community of Newman. Where is it found? If that is less important to you people than this plan occupying some additional airspace, then great. If you believe that this is going to create a canyon effect, how could you possibly respond to that if you haven't looked at these projects? These other projects that are all two-story. How could you draw that conclusion? I don't understand it, okay? That's the derivation of this plan. That is where it came from. That's where the idea came from, okay? Staff made the comment that it was going to impact the people in the community. Well, apparently that's people outside the 300 feet. We didn't get a single comment from anybody inside of 300 feet. I would think that's the most important people. Where's the comment? Now, there's not a heck of a lot of people within 300 feet of this project yet. But isn't it interesting not one person commented on it, right? I'll let that speak for itself. The original presentation was just that. It was our best of ideas that we had to give you, at that time, okay? It was based on a lot of very, very intelligent people doing a lot of market research. It was the best of our guesses. I think this is a beautiful project. I'm very, very proud of it. I hope you're proud of it. I hope as you drive through that community, doesn't sound like a heck of a lot of you have, if you drive through there and you drive through the other product lines that we're building out there, I hope you're proud of it. Because I did a complete drive around this community and some of the other new communities. I can't imagine that you're very proud of it, all right? We have done everything we promised. This plan was being proposed for the reasons that I gave you. Don't agree with the conclusions with staff, okay? That's nothing new. Developers typically don't, do they? All right, but I wanted you to understand that. I wanted to be here tonight so you can answer any questions that you've got about SCM homes, that you've got about the communities that we're building in your community. We're not new here. We're not new here. We've been here a long, long time. And we plan on staying here, all right? unless the economic gods have something to do with my industry that I can't control, all right? But that's my promise to you, that you will see the quality of that product and the maintenance of that community and communities that we build as long as we are here, or as long as I have control over this company, and that's hopefully for quite a while. Staff has recommended $1,000. Staff has made, first of all, has made comments about increase in traffic, generated increase of number of people. Yeah. Is it significant? No, it is absolutely not significant. There is so much parking in this project. There's so much parking in there. The increase in the number of people by adding one second story one more second floor to 1 out of 5 plans, insignificant. If all of that is a bigger deal than having a plan that caters to somebody who doesn't have a choice for a brand new 4-bedroom plan unless they go up into the mid 300s, so be it. Staff has recommended an aquatic fee. What's the connection with that? I don't get it. I just don't get it. If it increases traffic, charge a traffic fee or propose a traffic fee. I don't get the connection with aquatic fee. You know, if you want to raise money for a special purpose facility, I don't think you take a tax and target a very, very, very small part of your constituency with that. I don't think that's appropriate at all. I don't think that's good planning. I don't think that's good economics. And especially to put it on top of your one and only affordable project in the community. I don't follow that logic. All right? So, we don't agree with staff. We don't agree with we agree with the impacts. It's going to put a few more people in this project. There's a lot of room for it. I couldn't have possibly anticipated and have imagined the response to this plan, okay, to this idea. I got to tell you, it's been introduced as an idea in the other communities that we're going to be built in, and every one of them has said, "Gee, that's a great idea. Another augmentation to your demographic. That's a good idea." So, I've said enough. I'm going to close my comments by saying we're withdrawing the application. Okay? It's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. We will get through the project with the 1-story plan. I certainly would not recommend that you support this plan under any way. I'm not going to allow you to even deal with it any longer. I'm going to withdraw our application, but I certainly wouldn't recommend that you tax any other specific, very tightly segment of your community to a special tax, because that's all that translates to. Somebody paying for something that somebody else isn't. This facility, the facility that was up there, your aquatic center, is a wonderful idea. It's got to be paid for by the community in a broad sense of the word, and together with private funding. You know, you want help. SCM Homes is interested in helping you. I will take any call from any one of you individually who has an interest in our participation in that on a private basis. We will entertain that. So you want to talk to me about that, you call me privately. I'll be happy to go lunch with you and talk to you about it. So having said that, and withdrawing the application, I'll be happy to answer any questions you've got of our operations out there.
I was going to ask you if you fired your marketing consultant, but sounds like maybe.
You know, I've been in this business now for 26 years, and every time I've gone to a seminar, every time I've had a professional consultant, every time I've had an appraisal, so on and so forth, if there's more than 20% of that surprises me, I'm surprised. I shouldn't be, okay? You know, it's when you do a multi-million-dollar project like that, you bring in the best minds you can find, and you get around the table, and you cuss and discuss. You come up with the best ideas. You put your best foot forward, and that's why this business is risky. You know, and then you add to the you add to the market the panic that's going on in the capital markets that's totally unjustified. And you think, you know, why in the heck am I doing this? You know? Why am I doing this? And then, you know, you come on to situations like this where, you know, I can't fathom why this is a big deal for the reasons that are being, you know, extended. And it just further baffled me. But I assure you that we're in a great economy. The consumer sentiment index that came out this morning is a little disturbing to me. We got great interest rates. And in spite of what you hear, we've got great entry-level programs. Government-insured 30-year fixed-rate coupons. We don't need that gimmicky stuff. You know, SCM has never promoted that gimmicky stuff. And that's probably why you drive around and you look at the new communities that we have built out here, and you will see less foreclosure signs, you will see less for sale signs than any other community, any other area of your city. And the reason is, I think, because people have responded to the 80% of the things that we have done right. Okay? So, I'll be happy to address any questions you may have.
I just have one final quick question, Steve. How many of those 964 units have you actually sold, of the smallest ones?
12.
12.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood your question.
The smallest one, the
small
single
one.
story, how many have you actually sold of
None.
that? None?
None.
Really?
Now, we've had more interest in the last 45 days in that plan than we have since we opened the project in March. So, you know, I'm feeling a little bit better.
It's good
okay?
shape
But, you know, it's a long way over. We're not out of the woods yet in this problem we're in the industry. We're going to probably, with the disaster that's going on in the resale market, a 16-year high in resales on the market. I mean, 1 in 30 houses in Stanislaus County is in foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 27 in San Joaquin County. We're going to be in this for a couple of years here. We have, you know, we've trimmed our sails like everybody else, and we're down to skeleton functions just to make sure that we're here to, you know, laugh about this when it's all over. You know, but this isn't my first rodeo. I was in this business in the early 70s. In the early 80s. I was in this business in the early 90s. This is my third rodeo, okay? This one scares me only because we're at 16-year high in resale inventory, and it's going to take a while for that to be absorbed. You know? So we're quite a few months out looking at the absorption rates, but at least we're not fighting back from 17-18% rates like we were in the early 1980s.
Steve, I'll just comment. One, I'm one of the new members of the council, and when this project was first going on, I did go out and just see, and I was asked what I thought about that type of housing project, and I supported it because I thought, you know, Newman needed that kind of housing. Secondly, after I received my packet, maybe to your surprise, when you commented that maybe none of us have been out there, I went out and tried to visualize what the change would look like, you know, just so I have an idea, you know, in kind of preparation. And thirdly, I just changed from the aquatic center fee to traffic fee. If that makes you happy. You know? You suggested it, and I thought.
Have you met a developer yet that says another fee, you're going to be happy about another fee? You know, I just don't feel, let me put it this way. The affordability that we've got out there, from 230 to 290, okay, is not without any help from the city fees. There's no discount in the fees. If there's a lower fee, it's because it's a smaller square footage, okay? The affordability is created there by work in the design, the density of the project, okay? You can't get density without that, but, you know, I've done everything I can, ladies and gentlemen. I've done everything I can to create affordability, okay? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to help me? What are you going to do to help them? I already give them their down payment. Perfectly legal, government accepted program. I give them their down payment, pay all their closing costs. Problem is, today's young families, their credit is, you know, half of the people that have been turned down, probably 2-3 years ago, would have got a loan. you know? Now, what kind of a project would we have then? I mean, with a bunch of foreclosures, we might have been halfway through it, but I think even though this is painful, this is a good thing, you know? Even though it's painful out there right now, this is a good thing. This is a cleansing process. But, yeah, I wouldn't feel any better about it. I would see a better connection, to answer your question. You know, I'd see a better connection, you know, a nexus, as they say in the legal world in our business, you know. But, you know, it's a non-issue. The application was withdrawn.
Steve, one of the things that I've always liked about your project was your original concept and design, that the homeowners had an association, and that association took care of a lot of the internal things, such as the parking, such as keeping the garage open and clean so the cars would be parked in there. And I've always liked the project. I can't believe that it's not selling. I think it's something that should have a real good niche. But I do support your project
Well,
highly.
thank you. I thank you very much, Mike. We really appreciate that support. You know, we're not unique. I mean, everybody's having a real struggle right now. You know, and plus now we're in the ho-hum time of the year. I don't care what market. 2 years ago, when it was 2005, and things were boring, it was still boring this time of year. You know. It's a new concept. It's a cutting-edge concept for a rural community of Stanislaus County, for a rural community of the Central Valley. When we have people, numerous people, set down, qualified buyers, qualify for a maximum of $260,000, $270,000, and say, well, I want a big yard. Okay, but this is all you qualify for. Yeah, well, they're just not quite, everybody's just not quite ready to jump in there and live in that kind of density. I'm pleased with the progress we've had, you know. We just gotta keep down there and, you know, in the trenches and slug it out, and I'm confident. I've been there before, you know, so I'm confident we'll get there. But your point's well taken. Just to remind everybody, especially the new members of the council, there's a homeowners association in this project. Very, very rigid set of CC&Rs, tight controls on parking, lots of things because it's a high-density project. Most importantly, the association has the ability to create rules that you can't, 2 years from now, we wouldn't even have conceived the need for. Has the ability to create rules and to make them as binding as the original CC&Rs that were created and recorded. That's really important in managing these things in the future. Other questions?
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate your time. I really didn't think this and want this to be such a big deal. So, anyway,
Just
I appreciate
thank you
your
and
time
hang
your
in there.
patience.
Thank you.
Hey, my fingernails are a little short, but I'm hanging. Thanks very much.
Would anybody else like to comment, since the public hearing is still open? Seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and we'll move on. Consent calendar. Item A, waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions accepted by title. B, approval of warrants. Item C, approval of minutes of the August 14th, 2007 regular meeting.
I so move for approval of the consent calendar.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Regular business, item A, presentation of conceptual design for aquatic center project.
Thank you, Mayor. We have representatives from NTD Stickler today that are going to walk you through a PowerPoint presentation. We also have a few post-it boards here, and we're going to walk you through the process that we've gone through. To get where we are today. Just right off the bat, I'd like to thank members of our design committee. They were comprised of our recreation commissioners and members of our public. Those included Richard Gayton, Dwight Wilkins, Jeff Ogden, Greg Lamb, Tony Butero, and Kim DeMolly. And also the staff, Terry Heiberger and Stephanie Garcia, who have also worked on this particular project. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tal Lewis, and he's going to start walking you through this project.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name is Talmadge Lewis. I'm project architect. Been working with the steering committee, the design committee, and I really want to thank them for their time, their dedication to this. They volunteered their time, And I think it's allowed us to get an insight on the community that, that otherwise would not have been available. And they have come to a consensus for the community. And this is simply kind of a middle step. What I want to do tonight is present a little bit of the process we've gone through and the results of that process. This is the conceptual master plan component. We move ahead from here to December with the schematic design of the facility, especially the buildings. So right now what you'll see is two-dimensional, but it will address, I think, all the questions that have been brought to our discussions through the committee. The site is the hill property, approximately 5 acres. I could describe more, but I think you all know it. We started this process assessing the site, looking at a site analysis to consider what some of the issues were confronting this site. It had to do with traffic patterns, neighborhood concerns. There are always noise, light, and traffic concerns. And this site analysis allows us to begin to take a look at those issues. What we did was go through a series of discovery exercises that allowed us to develop a program for this facility. We went through the likes, dislikes, and issues of the site, and you can read some of these. We will have a copy of this PowerPoint for you, so you'll have it for your reference when we're done. The site program review went to the discussions of what the site should contain. We were directed that this was to be a park and a park environment as much as possible to make the best use of the property for the community within the concept of having an aquatic facility, planning for a future community center, and having as much green belt and park available as possible. We went through the process of programming the pool facilities. Again, looking at needs, wants, and beginning to define what the steering committee felt the community could best afford and could best use. They got very specific to the pools and to the support facilities, how the bathhouse should operate, what it should serve, and the services it should provide. We addressed the community center, the wants and needs for the community center. We understand this will most likely be a phased project with the community center a later phase, but it needs to be able to work into the function of the aquatic facility on this small site. So it's important to do some initial planning and design effort early on. Some of the things that came out of these discussions are illustrated here. You see the arrows here indicating concerns about traffic impacts on the neighborhood. There's always concerns about noise generated by the activity centers of this and the impacts of that on the neighborhood. There were desires to have this visible from the main thoroughfares so that it would let people recognize where it is, what it is, and promote more use. This particular initial concept included 9 potential small patio home style lots It was a study that that simply provided an option that could help support the construction and the maintenance and operation of the facility. The facility, I'm going to get Trish up to help me present these. I've got with me tonight is Jordan Knight, and he's the principal of our Auburn office, NTD Stickler, and Trish Soto with Councilman Hunsaker. She's our aquatics consultant and designer. I think I would like to go through these quickly. We have them on boards. I think a little easier to speak to. If you have questions, we can come back to them and address them in whatever detail you would like. But Trish, would you like to come up here and just speak to these? Just describe what we've done.
Well, as explained on earlier slides, we carefully listened to what the committee wanted, and basically it came through that they wanted a multi-generational facility that accommodated lesson programs. And
Please talk into the mic, ma'am.
they want.
You can hold it if you want.
If you'd like to just take it off
You take it
and
out and hold it.
talk, that'd be fine.
We heard them requesting a multi-generational facility that met some of the needs for everybody in the community. Some swim lanes, lap lanes, and something that had recreation value and the opportunity to bring in that recreation dollar to offset some of the costs. When we looked at the lap pool needs, we worked with a minimum of 8 swim lanes that would meet basic high school requirements, with a depth at one end for starting blocks, and then there was a desire to have a 1 meter board, which is also a part of a high school aquatics program. So we went to 12-foot depth, accommodated both the blocks and the diving board, and we used minimum, what we would term as minimum amount of deep water and maximum amount of shallow water to increase the opportunity for learn to swim programs. And this line here signifies the break from shallow to deep water, and that gives a lot of room for lesson programs, which I think is the need. You need to teach lessons before you can build a swim program, and the deep water is not sufficient for regulation water polo, but it is sufficient to do an introduction to water polo to allow the younger intermediate age children to go on to high school and take up water polo at that point. Where do we go from here? In the recreation pool, we looked at doing a lot for different levels and controlling the different areas. The circular area is basically accommodates a play structure in 12 to 18 inches deep of water, which accommodates a number of children between the ages of 3 and 4 up to about 12 years old. We've got a zero entry area where we have some play items in that part of the water. We have a 3-foot area at a step entry, which is ideal for those really young lessons for 3-year-old, 3, 4, 5-year-old swimmers. And we can rope that off and break out to the slide area. And we have a step out of the slide area which controls that circulation. When you come down from the slide, you get out at the side steps, walk around into the slide, and you're not crossing through the remainder of the pool. So it kind of gets those boisterous kids, 12 plus age group, away from the younger people. And then we also looked at the opportunity of introducing a spray pad feature, which has got no standing water. It has a lot of interactive water elements and builds confidence, allows grandparents to take grandchildren in there, and basically give it a family feel. And both of these elements have that recreation value that families are looking for today, and hopefully would bring in some additional revenue over the summer months to help offset your costs to keep perhaps the lap pool open during the winter.
These are some of the projected costs of the pools themselves. It's pretty much self-explanatory, and again, it's included in your packet. And some idea of the bather capacity. The spray pool or the spray pad is a little difficult to assess as far as bather capacity. The health departments and health codes help us define the others. But you're looking at being able to take care of several hundred people here on any given weekend. So it stands to serve the community for the next 15, 20 years. The facility is designed for a life cycle longer than that. Hopefully, within the next 10 or 15 years, you'll have the need for more facilities. But this certainly will serve for many, many years. This is just a listing of some of the features that are included. You can see that the community center is this facility here. It has an outdoor courtyard. You'll see in a later plan, you'll get some of the relationships. We have an outdoor court here, so we have rooms that are available to divide or open up. They all have access to this larger courtyard, so for larger functions, weddings, large parties, you have a large indoor as well as an associated outdoor area. That's controlled, it's defined, and it's buffered from the adjacent houses. The community center was determined best location in this corner because it's a quieter activity. It's a lot more subtle, and it moves the higher activity area down toward the open intersection, down where noise impact would be considerably less. We have the bathhouse located here. The entry to the pool would be between these two buildings. That way, the administrative and the pool control area would be housed in this part of the community center. We have a teaching room that's part of the community center that will serve both the community center and the pool. This is something that would serve as for lifeguard training, for first aid, rescue training, or any other aquatic associated training and lessons. The layout, the recreational competition pool that Trish showed with bleachers. One of the things we wanted to, or that the committee wanted us to be sure to express, is the ability to be able to associate some solar features. In this case, solar voltaics could be mounted on this. It's south facing, and it's a sufficient area to do some good. We have shade structures, the play pad, the recreation pool. Here at the end of the bathhouse, there's a concession building with a small, let's say, call it a food court or a little eating court that keeps designed to keep the activity of scattering food and wrappers and whatnot throughout the facility. This is the equipment building, and attached to one side of it is a slightly elevated pavilion, shaded. It's a patio with a roof over it that can also be used to rent it out for parties and other activities. So as Trish said, it really becomes a multi-generational, multi-functioning facility. Now let's see if we can get this to move on. This is just gives you a little closer look at what's going on. It's a slightly larger scale. This is one of the early pre-color, let me say, studies that were developed. This one is what led directly to the previous facility. And we were asked to compare this with the row of houses or the row of lots across the back with something that would expand the park. What if we didn't have those lots and just were able to open this park up? What would it mean? You can see that it nicely increases the natural screening. It has 2 parking lots to access it, to provide some help for overflow activities, but also provides access to the park, the picnic, the play areas. Heard some comments earlier, concerns about access after hours, in the evenings or at night. These, of course, can be gated for control. One of the things that we've done is design this so that from the roads, the facility, the park, the aquatic center, all of it is very transparent. It's buffered with low berms and landscaping, but nothing that would obscure anything that security or the police would want to be able to keep up with. This is that concept with the expanded park. Incorporated in it is the potential for a low bermed area and backed up against the pool, what might be a small performing area to function as a small amphitheater. Pathways that connect all of the components, playground, picnic areas, all of the features that a small park should have. Right now, down at this entry, the anticipation is that this will be the primary access to the park, to the facility. There's a half-court basketball assembly there. That would be moved over onto the park site. Access for service and maintenance is directly off the main thoroughfares, so there's no need for intrusion into the neighborhood streets. Again, it occurred to us at one point that this little amphitheater or gathering area might be more appropriately oriented to the south, so you're not facing the setting sun as it would be backed up against this. It's a little less formal, a little more open. Just some of the many options that are available as we go further and develop, and your comments and your input will be greatly appreciated, either directly here or through the committee as we move ahead. This is stepped in a little closer, gives us a chance to show what the first phase would be that we're anticipating, and it's the bathhouse and the office. You can see the outline here for the balance of the community center that would be future. This patio and this little entertaining area here, or our public function area, could be incorporated early in the process. But we see the offices, the entry, the control to the site, a guard room, first aid room, men and women's locker rooms, and a family toilet facility. Has a shower, an accessible toilet, and lab in it. It's a dressing room, so dad can take his daughter or mom can take their son, or anybody that needs assistance can use that privately. This shows the concession, the little food court, and its association with the higher activity areas of this. This is where the moms, dads, granddads, and all the kids would associate. But at the same time, this is a public recreation pool. It has steps, so it is available as a recreational feature as well as a competition and training. These are all included in your packet. This just gives you a little closer little bit more insight into just what these spaces do. And again, that last one showed the control and admin. This is just a little larger scale view of the bathhouse and the concession and the food court. Very quickly, the equipment building and large pool storage. This pavilion is kind of making use of an otherwise difficult area. These pools utilize a couple of surge tanks. These are tanks that are, I guess, similar to large septic tanks. They're large concrete tanks set in the ground, and they provide a relief in the pressure of between the pumps and the pool. When the pumps shut down and you get a surge of water surging from the overflow gutters into it, it provides a buffer. Those will typically be a foot to 15 inches high. And so we're proposing a raised patio over those with a shade, with a roof over it. Provides another pavilion to rent out or to use for parties or other gatherings. This will illustrate how the community center may be developed. It's got designed into it a lot of multi-activity and multi-use functions. A large multi-use room with a large meeting room adjacent, green room, a small dressing room, typically used for weddings and that sort of parties. Storage, and this room can be closed off from the large room and can open directly onto the pool for training. This large room opens onto this large patio and this entertaining area. One of these small meeting rooms also opens onto that, as well as to a smaller side patio. These two meeting rooms can be used independently or together. It includes a kitchen, a small kitchen, to cater and serve the needs for this. This is the facility office and check-in, sign up for the pool activities. The next step is the schematic design. That's where we basically give this 3 dimensions. We take this to the next level. We'll look at elevations and materials on the buildings and the architectural style or design that will be applied. And we'll work that through the design committee the same way we've worked the master plan. That will come back to you in December. This are the 2 schedules also provided. This is our design level schedule. This first section were the meetings with the design committee, and that brings us to today. From this step, we'll move forward through the schematic section or schematic component and complete in early December with a full schematic design master plan. It'll include cost estimates as well as graphics that will illustrate just what's being proposed. And that's it. Are there any questions?
Just one. Did you provide for heating of the pool so we could extend the season, or is that something that was not considered?
No. It is. I don't recall a pool in the last 10 years that it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Because we're going to lose a lot of season if we don't have it heated.
No, that's a good point. Yes, these are heated. Trish can speak to that if there are any specific questions or any more.
Are they gas
questions.
heated or solar heated?
We're looking at gas with the opportunity to utilize any solar heat that could be provided.
The city of Patterson's new aquatic center has solar heated around their shade area, which is faced to the south. I was told their average pool temperature in the summer is 85 degrees and extended the life, their swimming period life. by a month and a half on each end.
I've been involved in some major projects with solar, and you're more than likely wanting to be cooling the pools in the summer, yes. But you wouldn't get through with only solar heat through the winter months. So you would, with the it's a relatively small cost of installing direct fire 92% efficient gas heating in the facility and utilizing as much solar energy as we can provide solar panels to put on the roof. That's the biggest challenge, is that in order to heat some of these pools, you need around 80% of the square footage of a pool in area alone of the solar panels. One of the facilities that I was involved in that does utilize solar would be Elk Grove Community Center, south of Sacramento. Another one is a large high school 50-meter pool at Heritage High School in Brentwood, utilizes solar. The city of Brentwood have cogeneration, but with cogeneration you need to capture a lot of that electricity somewhere else. They actually happen to be beside a skate park, which they light at night. So they're capturing that electricity, but that uses gas to produce a lot of electricity. And we use the byproduct of heat on the pool. So we can do that.
And it is something we definitely consider. The design committee has requested that, I think, at every meeting. And it's a matter of providing for it. The technology is advancing week by week. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, by the time you recovered the cost, you were having to replace and apply fairly heavy maintenance cost. That's changing. So we're getting closer and closer to a balance, and it's essential that yes, we understand that it's important, and we do plan, if not having it as part of the initial project, to simply provide for it in the future.
One of the biggest challenges for most municipalities that we work with is the initial capital cost for solar, with the primary intent of getting the pools in the ground. We can certainly put T's in the return lines for the pool to accommodate the future installation of solar if it weren't available in the capital cost. The major savings that we can do, or environmental work that we could do initially when you first build the pools, is a new system that's on the market specifically designed for pools with which is called an AFD. It's an automated frequency drive, not a variable frequency drive, but a frequency drive that's been designed for pool systems that operates off the flow meter of the pool, and it tracks the pump frequency with the filtration, and filtration gradually, as the pressure in the filters go up towards backwash, and then when they're cleaned, the pump is designed at that dirty filter level, and an automated frequency drive follows the flow meter of the pool water and keeps the pump at a constant level when the filtration is either dirty or clean. So any pump over 15 horsepower, there's probably a 25% saving there alone. And the other huge saving is the regular use of pool covers. And that would save you in evaporation of water, so you've got water savings and chemical savings, which could be as much as 50%. So those are the two items that are very affordable at the early design stage.
I think one of the things we talked about early in the concept of all this was supplying something for our seniors to have a way to exercise in water aerobics. I think would be well worth our initial effort to heat the pool, solar or gas or however the external source so that they could take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and that is a strong consideration here. One of the design considerations in both pools, both the activity recreational pool and the competition recreational pool, is a large area of water that's 4 to 5 feet deep, that really accommodates that aquarobic programming. So it's strongly considered here.
And Councilman, one of the things that the design committee also talked about, and we talked about whether this can be a year-round pool or do we make it seasonal. One of the design criteria that we started off with and we continue to use is the season would be March through October. And then you would shut the pool down for November, December, January, and February. And through that and working with Tal and talking to people in the city of Galt, you're probably looking about 80 to 90% cost recovery for operations and maintenance. And really your numbers drop in November and December in terms of the total number of people that would use the facility. So it may be in our best interest at this time at least to plan to, just keep it covered, obviously, run and keep it at a certain temperature, but then just to, again, have activities start up in the beginning of March and run those through. And, that would be a best case scenario that we're trying to plan for right now is a March through October seasonal operation of this aquatic facility.
Anything else?
No, I'd just like to say thank you very much for what you've done. And a word that I don't use very often is awesome to describe what you've done for our community.
Thank you very much.
It brings a lot to the table and it has a lot for everyone. Thank you very much.
Well, it's been a large part of it gets attributed to the committee. They have really directed us well. They've gotten involved and have brought some great ideas to this, and have tailored it to their community. So we can thank them as well.
Very nice.
Sure.
Thank you.
And Council, if I may, just add a few things here. When you looked at there was 2 different designs. One had patio homes and one had the expanded park. It was the consensus of the design committee to go forward with the site plan that had the expanded park as opposed to the patio homes. And I think when you look at that, more and more communities, as some of our staff go to travel and tourism meetings in the countywide basis, more and more of these communities are doing concerts in the park 1 day a week. Middle of the week, Waterford got 400 people to show up to a concert in the park. And they had nonprofit groups out there selling food and drink and the like, and it's just become another community amenity that you can add to that. So we're gonna keep this comment period open. We're gonna post these on our website. We're gonna try to get people involved and again taking a look at that. So we will be again soliciting comments for the next week or two. Hopefully get the word out that people can come and look at these plans at City Hall, look at them on our website, encourage people to come in and talk to us and give us a comment. And then and the council as well, after you go back through your PowerPoint presentation, if you see some things there you would like us to address, please get those to us. Either give myself a call, Stephanie a call, or Mike, and we'll make sure we address those as we continue to move forward into the schematic design phase with that. So,
Thank you.
One other comment, Mr. Mayor, before we go on.
Yes.
It looks like back here in the last page that the actual construction is not to start until April of 2009.
that's correct.
Very slow process, isn't it?
It is. It's a long process, but what I can tell you is, if we continue on this schedule, our pool will only be closed for 4 years, not 30. That was the council. That was the direction from the council. We don't want to put this on the back burner. We're trying to keep it moving forward. So it just takes a lot of time to get engineers, architects, and get everything designed and approved. And it's going to take us to get funding too. So
So we won't be swimming till
2010. 2010 is going to be around the corner, though. You guys are going to.
You'll be in the senior project at that
Not
time.
not at our age. Yes.
I'm already there.
All respect.
That's okay.
Okay. No more questions, we'll move on. Item B, adopt resolution number 2007, next number, authorizing the executive director to purchase APN 128-002-020 and APN 128-002-032, the Hill properties.
Thank you, Director, Chairman
Oh,
Fantasy.
this
As
is a
we
very
are
important item.
sitting in as the redevelopment agency today, right
It's
now.
a very important item if we want to move forward.
Yes, again, and as we've reported out, we have reached terms with the Hill family in the purchase of this particular project here. By adoption of the resolution, you are authorizing myself as the executive director of the redevelopment agency to move this process forward to execute the agreement to close title and to secure that property.
Questions, comments? Not some direction?
I move that we approve the resolution. Do I need to read the whole thing, or?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item C, adopt resolution number 2007, next number, modifying the boundary of underground utility district number 5 and establishing underground utility districts numbers 5A, 5B, and 5C under Rule 20.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. It's a requirement to obtain some PG&E Rule 28 money from the county. City of Newman had to establish an underground district, which was District Number 5, and this was done on June 10th of 2003. The boundaries of this district were from Merced Street to the south, P Street to the west, N Street to the east, and Kern Street. Then on May 27, 2004, boundaries of the district were modified with Resolution 2004-44, and that included the property to the north of Kern to Mariposa, to the highway and to Main Street. On April 11, 2006, the council established through that resolution that June 30th, 2008 was the date that affected property owners would have to be ready to receive the underground service, with December 30th, 2008 as the date which all the overhead poles and everything had to be underground. We have been meeting with PG&E, AT&T, Comcast, and RRM. And at one of the meetings, Mr. Steve Huff from PG&E informed us that PG&E won't be able to meet the timeframes that were established in the Resolution 2006-10. So Mr. Huff recommended that the project be broken into phases. And in the staff report, you'll see the district description, but there's an attachment to your agenda to the staff report that readily shows you the districts. We're talking about utility district number 5 being where the Plaza project is, which is from Fresno to Tulare between the highway and Main Street. Then we talk about District 5A, which is everything north of Tulare all the way to Mariposa between the highway and Main Street. Then we have District 5B, which is between Fresno and Merced Street and highway and Main Street. And then you have District 5C, which excuse me, is the west side of Main Street from Merced to Kern and over to P Street. Time frames for these property owners to be ready to receive underground service is also being proposed for June 30th, 2008 for District Number 5, June 30th, 2009 for Districts 5A and 5B, and June 30th, 2010 for District 5C. And that's the dates by which all poles, overhead wires, and associated overhead structures are to be removed are, again, December 3108 for District 5, which is the Plaza project, would be December 208. December 31 209 are Districts 5A, 5B. And then December 31st, 2010 would be District 5C. The most sensitive portion of the undergrounding project is, of course, District 5, which is the Plaza project. And based upon meetings with representatives of PG&E, AT&T, and Comcast, it is believed the initial undergrounding schedule can be met for this portion. Mr. Huff is concerned also with the funding level in Newman's R28 ledger. He believes that there's not enough money to do all of the undergrounding of the entire district at this time. So this is one of the reasons why he wants to break it up into 4 distinct districts. We have also encountered a field problem that is going to create a fiscal impact on us, and that is to create an undergrounding corridor of sufficient width to accommodate all the underground vaults that PG&E has and AT&T. We're going to need to relocate the water mains in the alleys. And of course, this is what's going to create the fiscal impact on the city. But by providing a longer time frame for undergrounding facilities, water line relocation costs could be spread over several years. The fiscal impact in your staff report, you'll see that what's associated with District 5, the Plaza project, is $100,000. District 5A is $200,000. District 5B is $100,000. In District 5C is $250,000 for a total of $650,000. So at this point, the recommendation is that that you adopt a resolution to divide underground district number 5 into the 4 underground districts for construction phasing purposes. And in addition, this resolution will amend the time frames that were in the prior resolution for the removal of all the overhead facilities. Any questions?
Lots.
I figured
So
as
there's no
much.
way of hurrying up PG&E and all the other utilities?
What initially had happened is we had met with PG&E the year before with the PG&E representative Chuck Hughes. In the meantime, he retired and didn't let us know that he was no longer the one who was in charge of this project. So when I emailed PG&E to find out where are we in this project, what is the status of it, that's when I got a reply from Mr. Steve Huff, and he says, I've been burdened with his workload now, and because of that, we did not fund this project for this year. And so now he is trying to, is working together with our city engineer, Gary Rogers of Boyle, and also talking with RRM, which are our design architects for the Plaza project. And we're trying to go ahead and at least get the Plaza project portion moving forward.
So how much over budget from the original Rule 20s money we were going to get for this whole project are we going to be?
The original amount, as I can recall, when I did the staff report about 3 years ago or more, it was $768,000 that I believe the Stanislaus County had passed a resolution designating that amount for Newman. The latest email that I saw from Steve Huff to Gary Rogers, he is estimated, he's saying to the city engineer that he says that there are thumbnail costs using average unit cost. He says these do not represent a formal estimate of the final cost of the project. These costs are to use for discussion purposes only, and he mentions Merced de Fresno, Tulare to Mariposa, $650,000. In District 5C alone, $900,000. And I just saw this email this afternoon.
So, Ernie, if
900,000 just for 5C
If,
alone.
if I interpret all this correctly, to get $750,000, we're gonna have to spend $900,000 to underground it?
This is what PG&E is saying that the costs are going to be for the project. And initially, what we had was about $750,000.
Then why are we doing it?
Because we adopted a resolution and to create the districts and to move forward with the undergrounding district, but now we're gonna need to do it in small phases for construction purposes. And then I guess as the monies are allocated through the Rule 20, we may be back before you saying that we're gonna need additional time.
What's happening is Rule 20 money, if Ernie, correct me if I'm wrong, Rule 20 money is PG&E money that is utilized by jurisdictions such as Stanislaus County, the city of Newman. In 2003, the Stanislaus County allocated $700,000 plus to us for this particular project. And what's really disconcerting for staff is, in 2006, when we were working with Chuck, he gave us all these timelines. He gave us, he told us what to write in the resolution. We write it, and then he leaves, and somebody else can't pick it up and run with it. Some of the numbers that you heard Ernie say is 5A, 5B, and 5C. 5C is basically the west side between Main and P, I believe it is.
That's correct.
And that alley there, and it's about $900,000. So what he's saying though, we wouldn't pay the $900,000. We would have to work with PG&E and wait for that kiddie pool to develop to such a number that we could move forward with it. The main concern that we have right now is 5A, and 5B, because those are the ones that affect the alley right behind us, that have a direct effect on the plaza and have a direct effect on the aesthetics of our community as you go down Highway 33 and look towards Main Street. So, and I didn't see the numbers because I haven't seen that email yet, but we should have money there. One of the big costs that we're going to have to discuss as a council and as a community is the relocation of the water line.
Right.
And that water line is now, we don't know that water line is until PG&E starts doing some of the engineering. And now that they've done some just line drawings, they've indicated, that might be in the way. So there is going to be a cost to us to relocate a water line to move that forward. We'll do every effort that we can to secure grant funding and the like to take care of that.
And if we do nothing, if we tell them we don't want their 20 funds, forget it, we like it the way it is.
Then it goes away, but you just have the overhead utility wires crossing the downtown plaza. Or we could do 5A, which is the downtown plaza.
Since this is way behind already, I'm sure it's not going to hurt if we get a little more information and wait 2 more weeks to decide what to do here. Would that hurt the timeline or not?
Adoption.
It sounds like if we wait 2 months, it's not going to hurt.
Knowing PG&E, it's not going to hurt, but at this point in time, the adoption of this resolution, it just allows us to continue to move forward. This is our best effort to try to move this project forward and meet the timeline that we have. Don't forget, we have T money, which is federal grant money, Transportation Enhancement Act money, and that's why we're really focusing and trying to get them to get that core plaza area undergrounded and moved out of the way so we can move forward and spend that $600,000 that we have in federal funding for the downtown plaza project and try to break ground on that in 2009. That's really where we're working at right now. So ideally, we'd like you to adopt this resolution tonight. As staff, we can continue to research this, work with our city attorney on some of the legalities of what PG&E is running us through right now.
And I think the other point, or put another way, is you're not obligating yourselves to spend any money tonight with this. Just sets up these districts.
So PG&E is just requiring this right now to keep their plans moving ahead, even though they're so far behind.
What we need to do is adopt the boundaries, the new boundaries and the timeline so that they can move, because without that resolution, they can't move forward with their design.
But could they determine then that they don't want to do the plaza area? In other words, do 5C first? Or do we have that option?
We're going to have to work with our city attorney on a lot of this and help my understanding of it, because I'll be honest with you, I'm really frustrated with PG&E right now and how they've treated this particular process. And it's not only this particular project, it's, you know, the industrial project, the park that we did 5 years ago, you know, it's the customer service and the level of service that we are receiving out here is unacceptable. And we need to figure out what our legal position is, and so we're going to have to work with our attorney and some special people to work with that. Again, right now we're just asking you to adopt this resolution because we need to get them engineering this project now. Because if we wait another 2 weeks, they're going to say, "Well, you guys waited. Now we can't really meet that timetable," and so we really need to put them on the mark and keep them moving forward. And so, but if you'd like, we can bring back a lot more reports to you in the next coming weeks to really answer a lot of the questions I think you have right now. But we're not committing ourselves to spending any money right now. But it does help staff try to keep this project moving forward and meet the timeline that we have, and trying to break ground on the plaza in 2009 so we can spend, you know, the $500,000-$600,000 that we have in federal money. Otherwise, if we don't do that, we're going to have to give that back.
You use it or you lose it.
That's correct.
Well,
Good
in
thing
that
we have a
case,
Stan Cog vice chair on our.
chair of as of last night. So.
Oh,
yes.
even better.
If that's the case, then you know, we need to keep at least PG&E happy, face-wise, paper-wise, and but we definitely need a full report of what the heck's going on here,
We will.
money-wise and timelines of, you know, the 20 monies and the federal monies too.
Yeah, and
Any
the
other-
option of just doing District 5 and
That's
getting
correct.
our plaza
That's correct.
going.
And that's the key component right now is five right now to make sure that that plaza is there without having the overhead utilities being an aesthetic.
If there's no further questions, sounds like we should move ahead and adopt this. Would somebody like to do that?
I move for adoption of resolution number 2007, next number, modifying the boundaries of underground utility district number 5 and establishing underground utility districts number 5A, 5B, and 5C.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Ernie. Thank you. Item D, designation of voting delegate and alternate voting delegate for League of California Cities Conference.
Thank you, Mayor. Next week or the beginning of September, we have yourself, Mayor Fantasia, and Councilmember Caton that will be attending the annual conference for the League of California Cities. Part of that, we need to delegate one of the two attending members as the voting delegate and identify the other member as the alternate for voting, as the League of Cities has issues to deal with.
Flip a coin, Ed?
I
Or
would
you gonna-
nominate John
Are
to
you
be
gonna
the voting delegate.
Thanks a lot, huh? And if I can't make it, you'll be my alternate?
I was going to vote you in,
Oh.
buddy.
All in favor of John?
Jeez.
Aye.
But we do need a second. We need to send John with the resolution. So I heard a motion by Keaton, a second by Kelly.
Jeez, all in favor? Opposed? All right. Okay. If I happen to not make it, then you'll fill in for me, Ed?
Oh, you'll make it.
Okay. Oh, I'll make it. Okay, moving on.
I have faith in you.
Well, thank you. Report on the Fall Festival. Hey, the chief's attended our last two committee meetings, and I think he knows almost just as much as I do what's happening. Right, Chief?
That's right, Mayor. Mayor, members of City Council, it gives me great pleasure to present a riveting report. On the,
Make it short, man.
Bob, wake up, this is a riveting part.
as well as awesome, on the
I like
the
that.
Newman Fall Festival 2007. And this report is pretty much a cookie cutter report from last year. It's the same street closures. The dates and times have been changed to reflect the change in the current calendar year. And I've went over this report with the mayor. I went over it with Public Works Director on the street closures, the times, and so on and so forth.
Don't forget the parade chairman, Bob's wife, Rita. She was there, and she went over it with you, too. So.
Exactly right. she gave me her endorsement, and I knew I was on the right track.
That's
at
all
that
that
point.
matters. We're in good shape.
And the fiscal impact is negligible to the city. There's estimated police overtime and costs is approximately $1,600. Public Works estimates their cost at $500 for $2,100. There's $1,000 budgeted in the city budget with a difference of approximately $1,100, which would be billed back to the Fall Festival upon all the receipts and invoices coming in. And this is, excuse me, Mayor, this is 30-plus years that we've...
37.
37
yeah.
years.
Yep.
And it'll be my first. I'm looking forward to it. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? I guess not. Things are rolling along good. Randy, thank you very much for attending our 2 meetings. We appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. And thank you so much.
Thank you. With that, guess we need an approval, yeah. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve everything as written with the traditional closures of the streets and the parade route on Sunday?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Expect to see everybody Friday night at the Wine and Cheese. Don't forget.
Oh,
Important event. Friday. Oh, tomorrow night's a fashion show. Sorry.
yeah, goodness gracious.
Sorry. Get yelled at by Debbie for that one. Sorry, Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie.
Okay, item from city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. It's my pleasure to announce we are official title holders to 919 Fresno Street, which is the former McBride Dentistry office. So we have that, and we have now officially taken title, which rolls into my second comment. We've been working this week with RRM Design on the plaza design, working with individual property owners, property owner from the St. George Hotel, the Stevens and Borelli building, as well as Dan Gray from the Grill. We've also invited, and we haven't heard yet from the Bank of the West, but also Valdez Jewelry, and we've invited them to those meetings. Because of the acquisition of the McBride building, this project, you're going to see some changes from the original master plan because it allows a lot more flexibility and to really enhance the design of this particular project. So we look forward to bringing that back. But again, this is still in committee level, and it'll be a couple months before we roll that out to you. So. Next month we have our 5-year RDA plan that's going to be coming before you, and we'll be looking for an adoption of a 5-year plan, the 2007-2012 redevelopment plan, and that's going to be an implementation plan that identifies a number of priorities for the city as we continue to move forward. I believe it was approximately about a year ago that this council set those priorities, so we can bring those up and we'll refer those back during that public review and that public hearing process. So with that, I have a couple pictures that I'm going to steal a thunder from Stephanie. No, wrong one. Oh, we got Ernie's first. There we go. For those who haven't seen, Mayor, I'm glad to report that Stephanie gets to keep her job.
It was your job, not hers.
Well, I got to delegate. Got to delegate.
That's right. Yes, looks very good.
The playground equipment is officially done. We have not taken down the fence yet. That's something
I tried it out the other night.
Did you? That's good.
Slide?
As you can see there's a canopy shade structure over there. Those canopies are 16 foot in width. So it provides a lot of shade out there. Here's some swings, and the people are out there dropping in the barrel. So the mayor, you asked that this be done as well as the rest of the council be done before Fall Festival, and I am proud to announce that it is. And I anticipate that you will see lots of people enjoying this facility. Lots of children will be enjoying this facility over the weekend. So,
Michael, that last picture, what were those little stools? They look like they swivel?
yeah, you just kind of sit on them and rock on them, kind of. Yeah.
There's a lawsuit.
Yeah. So here's some stuff from
did you
today
enjoy that
again.
when you wrote it?
Here's the play structure again from today. There's a little rock to climb on and jump off
I tried
of.
that out, it was okay.
Yeah. There's another view of the rock and the swings. And this little feature right here in the front, it's a climbing gym. It's the most modern climbing gym that they have out there now. It looks like a rope type structure, but again, kids love to climb on that. That's one of the newest features by Landscape Structures Inc.,
That thing's
the
OSHA
company by
approved,
which.
huh?
It's all OSHA approved, and we had certified installers come in and install this facility. So this was installed by certified playground installers, and it's all approved by. The ground cover is a bark structure. Yeah. Chip, Stephanie, do you remember what the name of the ground cover was? Is it 5-bar?
5 bars.
Yeah, it's 5-bar. It's actually a treated wood. No.
Ooh.
Flammable.
So,
Ooh.
So,
David.
and the other thing was, it's underneath there. They did put in some dry well, so it will drain well. So, and then we got probably an extra half truckload or so of 5 bars that we can come back and fill back in as it gets knocked out. So with
Looks
that,
good.
Mayor, you're after upon
Looks good.
the plans for the
Restroom?
restroom facility are in plan check right now. That project will commence following the fall festival.
Good job, Steph.
It was my job on the line.
Yeah, If it hadn't gone well, it was going to be Stephanie. but-
Yeah, that.
Right?
Yeah.
With that, I'll turn it over to our Public Works Director, Ernie, to talk a little about this project.
I just had some photos to show you about R Street and Yolo Street. And of course, this is looking north on R Street. Then the next picture is on Yolo looking toward the east. The intersection really came out really nice. So it's really smooth going through there, and you don't have quite that bump that was there before. Then I have a couple of photos of children using the crosswalks there at Yolo and R. And then I have another angle of it. Okay. Then we have on Hardin Road, that's also has been completed. You can see the new street with the curbing. And that's looking to the north, and then you have another shot looking the other way. And while I'm on the topic of roads, as you well know, we piggybacked with the council for their overlay program. And so the Board of Supervisors approved the advertising for the plans and specs for the overlay, because they finally got their project approved by Caltrans to get their project going. And so I received an email from Peter Song from Stanislaus County. And he's advising us that the overlay for the city of Newman, which includes Kern Driscoll from M Street to Basil Court, and L Street from Merced Street to Kern Street, that I needed to schedule. There's some leveling work that we need to do on L Street, where there's quite a few pockets in the street that needs a leveling course of fines of asphalt, so that the overlay will have a solid foundation to go up on. And of course, this was approved by the council quite some time ago. We're gonna do that work for, I think, $5,600. We're gonna have that work, the leveling course, done by the 16th of October. So the work shall begin either late October or early November. Any questions?
Another staff
Ernie?
member saves her job. No.
Ernie, one comment on R Street. The last council meeting, I was very vocal about the completion of that. You did a very good job, and I applaud you for that. Thank you. It looks very nice.
Thank you very much.
Ernie, I had a question on Hardin, just real fast. Maybe it's a question for the chief, but remember we okayed the new no parking signs and everything. Are those ordered, or I know now that it's done?
We have them on hand. I was talking to the Public Works Supervisor yesterday afternoon when we went through taking those pictures. letting them know that those signs had to be installed, and of course, because of all the road work that was ongoing, he hadn't installed them. But that's gonna call for no parking on both sides of the street, and I told him, I see where there's quite a few vehicles along here, so.
Yes.
All of a sudden, they're gonna see these signs up there. We're gonna try to see if we can get them by the end of this week, and if we can, because of all the preparations for the Newman Fall Festival, we'll schedule them for the following week.
Are we gonna
All the signs are in.
Are we gonna red curb that as well as put up the signs?
No, because then you're allowed to park there after 4 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, it was 40.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Ernie.
Okay.
Mayor, as the next staff member comes up, I just wanted to, again, reiterate the letter that was sent from Superintendent Rick Foss, thanking the city council for the banner and also for your contribution to the new flooring at Hunt Gym and the Crow's Landing, Newman Crow's Landing School District really appreciated that.
Thank you, Ted,
No,
for the banner.
no, it's everybody, and especially the guys for putting that up. Did an excellent job. Got a lot of good comments about that. We should be very proud of them. So,
Mayor, members of the City Council, I'd like to share with you a correspondence that I received from the Sheriff of Stanislaus County. Recently, they had a homicide in their jurisdiction, and Newman police officers responded and rendered assistance. And in his gratitude, I'll read you the following. Dear Chief Ulibarri, I want to thank you and members of your department for their response and support of the Sheriff's Department. We recently responded to a gang-related shooting in Crow's Landing that resulted in the death of an 18-year-old resident of Patterson. Following the incident, I received the following information from Sergeant Tom Lawrence, the patrol sergeant in charge the night of the shooting. Sergeant Lawrence writes, Sheriff, I wanted to recognize Sergeant Richardson of Newman PD for his outstanding support to the Sheriff's Department. As a result of the protracted homicide investigation, our manpower was stretched to the brink. We had no units available to patrol the city of Patterson. Sergeant Richardson responded and handled all of the calls for service exclusively. Sergeant Richardson was not scheduled to be on duty. As the incident was unfolding, Sergeant Richardson happened to be at Newman PD dropping off equipment. He just returned from an Explorer convention in Southern California and had been up all day. Hearing our call on the radio, he immediately donned his uniform and headed out to help. Sergeant Richardson's selflessness is an example to all of us. His effort was truly remarkable, and I'm extremely grateful. I bring this incident to your attention in the hopes you might share my gratitude with the Chief of Newman Police Department. Additionally, Sergeant Lemus and Officer Astorga proved to be invaluable resources at the main crime scene. It is comforting to know we can count on Newman PD in time of need. Sheriff concludes, I appreciate the dedication, commitment, and professionalism of Sergeant Richardson, Sergeant Lemus, Officer Astorga, and every member of your department. The support we received is commendable. Thank you. Please express my appreciation to the members of the Newman Police Department. Signed, Adam Christensen, Sheriff, Stanislaus County. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that on that night in which they had a homicide, Sergeant Richardson was returning from San Diego from the Explorer Academy, heard the call come out, jumped in his uniform, jumped in the patrol car, went over and handled all the calls for the Sheriff's Department in Patterson. Additionally, Officer Astorga, who's Spanish-speaking, Sergeant Lemus, who's Spanish-speaking, was able to go out and secure witnesses to this homicide and is helping with the Sheriff's Department in solving this crime. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
That's great.
Also, a little update on our code enforcement efforts. As you know from previous discussions and newspaper article, we are now rolling into the enforcement of the garbage containers. Today, our code enforcement officer was quite busy. He went out and tagged 30 recycling containers. The recycling was picked up on last Friday. He found 30 containers that were still out. And additionally, yesterday was garbage pickup for a portion of the city. and they're supposed to have their containers removed the same day as pickup. So he went out today and stickered 330 garbage containers. I initially purchased 1,000 stickers, and I think I underestimated the
Can we
number of
afford these
stickers.
stickers there, Chief? Or no?
So the code enforcement effort is well underway, and
Little thing about a truck.
we're trying to work with the community as much as possible. And and like I said, this is going to be a 30-day warning period before we move into the citations, and hopefully we won't have to go into the citations, and that'll be the exception rather than the rule.
Chief, one of the things I don't recall ever talking about that is special need people. Maybe they're handicapped, maybe they're elderly. Do we have any provisions in place to assist them in, rather than being cited?
6 minutes?
We only have 6 minutes, so speak quickly. We're gonna get going here. Not riveting, just answer.
Yes, no. And that's a good point, and this has not come to my attention before now, but I'm not opposed, if we have a list of people who need help with that, to enroll our explorers, our VIPs, to go out and do some community service in that regard. So, you know, they can call the police department, they can call City Hall, and we're here to work with the community, not against the community.
Thank you. I hope
The garbage company actually offers the services. We've already had one person call and tell us that they were unable to bring their can back in themselves, that it was too hard on them. If they notify us, let us know, we'll call the garbage company.
Super.
And we'll set it up with the garbage company. They'll come in, they'll pick up their can, they'll dump it, and then they'll bring it back in later.
That's great.
Dean, when you pick this up on the video, please note that. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, and that was
Chief.
under 6 minutes.
That's it. Thank
you.
Any other staff reports? Item 11A, Supervisor DeMartini, can you give us a quick 2-minute? No.
Jim, you can have the whole 6 minutes.
You got like there's 4 and 50 seconds left. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Fantasia, council members. I will be quick because I know your clock's ticking. Just
It's
two,
Mr. Navoa back there now.
2 short items tonight. Today we passed the second milestone for the West Park group's development of the air base. They did submit on time the reports, technical reports that they had to provide the county through things like storm drains, utilities, roads, seismic conditions of the area. So that is done. The only action that the county took today was to make the decision to keep the land and not sell it. And those were the options we had. So that was the only action the board took. So we have a long ways to go, of course, on this, and another 6 months before there will be anything more of a specific plan. But the milestones have been met. On one other short item, the Westside Healthcare Task Force will have its next meeting here in Newman on September 6th. We are moving along pretty well on this. We are doing a physician survey and a roster of physicians. And as I said in past times, we're making a list of what actually we have here on the west side, and then our task is to fill those gaps to provide better health care. But before we do this, we have to know exactly what's here. And that's more of a task than you think. As we got into this, we found, we're dealing with Sutter Gould, Del Puerto Healthcare District, and Golden Valley. And so there's different, and then private physicians too. So we're putting together the first complete list of what medical services are here on the west side. It's the first time this has ever been done. So we are moving forward, and we appreciate the city of Newman providing this facility.
Jim, real quick, did you notice there was a supplement in the paper today in the Modesto Bee? And all the doctors and the health? There was a whole packet, beautiful packet about all the services and doctors. I didn't notice any of them in our area.
Keith Boggs is doing those.
Of course.
We're redoing the matrix, and you'll see
Yeah.
at the next meeting, it'll be pretty well done. But
Good.
I only read the editorials.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Items from city council members. Quick.
No comment.
Bob?
Oh, just the Aquatic Center is great, fantastic.
Two quick things, that water, remember where there was standing water? I jump over that every day, and
that,
it's
huh?
still the same. I mean, I don't know Ernie, what's going on there, but you don't have to come up, just.
There's no time.
Yeah,
We did take some shots with the survey crew, and it does show that it is a sunken area.
Okay.
That's too bad.
he's
problem.
dead, but.
And it's, so what we're going to be doing is, city manager is asking to talk with their consulting engineer, their city engineer, Gary Rogers, and we're going to look at that.
Yeah, because that's tough. I don't know how, we've looked at my neighbor and I and all that. The other thing is the speeders on my street. I'm going to keep doing that until I'm going to be squeaking until you oil it. Can't I just put that stop sign, it's not recorded now anyway. Can't I just take that? Can't I take that
your
stop
time.
sign that, the only thing it's stopping is corn from coming into the street? Can't I just take that and leave? I mean, what's it take to, I
You
know,
want to